you click option 2, you're going to get that prompt, and that prompt is encouraging you to, as many times as you can, make sure that you become part of those winners. You can only do that if you increase that number of tickets. So good for you. But well, I have a lot of discussion to do today. It also means that for you to be part, you have to take a look at all that there is for all our discussion platforms today. And so we're going to have some great time. Please stick and stay. We have, as we told you early on, some discussion about, well, not only the 24-hour economy, which we're told will be launched today, and then subsequently we know that institutions like the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, they did their own policy implementation, which had been a management decision for over the last couple of days. So yesterday was even a formal introduction or deployment of that policy, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. But our main discussion will be about the Global InfoAnalytics survey, their latest report indicating that when it comes to the MPP, 56% of delegates or members or the membership of the party, they support the flag bearership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And following close second is Kennedy Japan. I don't know how those in the camp of Kennedy will be reacting to this, but this is what it does indicate. So we'll come to this, but let me just quickly introduce our guests for this morning. I have facing me Dr. Joshua Jabuntie, former parliamentary candidate for the MPP, also a political scientist as well. And thank you for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Great. And then also Wanda Madilo. Wanda, thank you for joining us as well.
Very good morning.
Great.
Good morning.
And representing all stakeholders from government. And then, of course, the president and chair for the Common Sense family, an entrepreneur in his own right, and then with the Movement for Change, Solomon also. Great, Solomon, how are you?
I'm doing good. Where have you been, my brother?
I took some time off to look at some pressing family health issues.
Very important.
Great. So it was some nice discussion as well. Yes. I like the way you dressed like Dr. Zato today. He never works the smokes though.
You will never do that representing this region. Dr. Rahman Jamachuchu. He was a former minister. He graciously gave you this. Yes, and so...
I think he's been watching you and Dr. Zato and has noticed that he's not representing his place. Dr. Zato, your place is Sisala what?
I'm from Tumudas and Sisala.
Sisala. Please greet your people. Before I introduce Musa Dankwa, please greet your people.
You speak your dialect.
Yeah, in your dialect.
We can go, I'll go. Don't worry.
You go ahead.
Fine, yes, I'll go.
All right. So we have Musa Dankwa also, who is a custodian of the latest poll as executive director for Global InfoAnalytics, and he'll be joining us and when he's ready. Well, let's take you through what the indicators are when it comes to the outcome of that report, indicating that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was flag bearer for the MPP, and then we also do have what the latest outcome is. So according to what the dashboard is for the MPP poll, it says that the general sample size or population that was used for the survey does indicate that 56% of those who were sampled and then questions posed to them did indicate that they support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the presidential candidate, if it was, as at the time they did the poll, to lead the MPP into any general election. And we know the next general election will be 2028. But first they need to go through primaries. And then MPP voters compose of 70% as well. And we have Kennedy or Hinie Japan, 23%. Dr. Yao Osei Duchum is following closely with 9%. Patrick Yabuama, Member of Parliament currently, not former, for Kankwe Central, he currently is the Member of Parliament for Kankwe Central, 4% in the polls in terms of the sampled public opinion and then who they think should lead the MPP into the next round. And Brian Ichampong, Dr. Brian Ichampong, former Minister for National Security, 3%. And basically that's it. Now, while that is all the indicators, there's also everything to talk about when it comes to the selection of the samples, etc. And well, when it was done, and we know that within that period, culminating up to today, every indication indicating that the delegates as well as the voters within the rank and file and those that were or are sympathetic to the MPP, saying that they would support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and in tow the others as well. Musa Dankwa, Alaji, good morning.
To you.
Okay, so the first question that I'll pose to you, and I think is logical, the sample size, that demographic, what composition are they made of? Because for anybody to lead the MPP, it has to be a population that fully supports the MPP. Then you drill down to the delegates. So the size.
Well, let me make it clear that this survey is not about delegates. It's about Ghanaian voters, either MPP, NDC, floating voters, and the rest. Now, we sampled over 10,400 Ghanaian voters, of which 44% of them now say they are NDC, and 30% say they are MPP, and 50% support floating voters, and about 3% other parties, and 8% do not disclose their party affiliation. In fact, in the last 90 days, previous 90 days that we went to the field, MPP was 32%, and now they've declined 30%. And sample comprised about 42% female and about 58% male.
And I see that beyond the other indicators, the president's job approval, 73%.
Yes, if you look at the numbers we are looking at the moment, it's quite astonishing that he keeps rising in the popularity or in the polls with regards to the approval rating, how he's handling his job. You have seen that in the previous quarter, only 62% said he was, in the previous quarter, in April, we found that 66% are saying that they approve of the way he's doing his job. That number has gone up by 6% to 73% now. And those who say they don't approve the way he's doing his job has declined from 23 to 19%. So he's rising in the poll every quarter so far.
Now, if that is the case, it also means that there should be reason, or there are assigned reasons why we have the approval ratings going up.
Yes, there are reasons, but we don't ask them to give us reasons. We know how to find that out. If you go elsewhere in the question, or in the survey, you will see that people are saying that their standard of living is improving from 51% in April to now 59%. People are kind of saying that things are getting better. If you look at people's optimism for the future, a lot more people are saying that they believe that their standard of living will improve in the next 12 months. And then you look at what they are telling you about the current economic performance, how they rate the president on the economy, around 74%. So all these are factors that are contributing to them saying that he's doing his job very well.
And then also you touched on as well their reception to the increment in the energy levy. Why did they say that 55% out of them as Ghanaians supports this levy when we know that, well, there's a mixed reaction to it?
You know, you will not have everybody supporting it, but by and large, we were very clear in the way we asked the question. We gave them the preamble to the issue. We said to them that, look, the government is saying that they have come to meet energy sector debt that needs to be repaid. If not tackled, then it means we'll be experiencing doing so in the near future. For this reason, they want to increase the petroleum tax to enable them to pay off the debt. Do you support the government increasing this tax in order to defray the debt? This was the question we asked voters. Based on that information that they know, 55% of them said that yes, they support it. 22% oppose it, and 23% were neutral about that.
So what? How?
And if you look at the party lines, in fact, all party affiliates, 39% of MPP voters haven't heard what we told them, support it. 23% were neutral, and 38% oppose it. So basically, within MPP, half, a third or 38 support, 39 support, and 38 oppose. When you come to NDC, it's 76%. Floating voters is 48%, and then 39% for other political parties. So there's a cross-party support for the increment of that taxes to deal with the problem. They're not just wanting you to just tax them. If they know you are taxing them to solve a problem, then they are backing you.
And then, how is the president performing on regional basis, particularly if we have to take, let's say, the strongholds for either party?
You know, it is for the first time we've seen that in the poll that majority of voters in every region, including the Ashanti region, approve of the job of the president. This has never happened in our polling history before, as far as global info is concerned. Every single region approve of the way Mahama is doing his job, including the Ashanti region.
The Ashanti region was accounting for that.
You know, in the same issue, if you look at people's standard of living, people's perception about how the economy is doing, how they are perform on prices of goods and services in some cases, how the city has performed. I mean, these are all global factors that influence the way people respond to how they rate the president. Whether you are in your stronghold or in the opposition stronghold, these are things people feel, the realities on the ground, and they can be ambivalent to it.
Right. And the government is just about 6 months in office, but you couldn't resist the temptation of even going to their camp and asking who should lead the party into the next election. Why?
Mahama is not going to run again by the constitution. And the father is not going, and he's in government. Doesn't mean that people haven't started. Even before he became president, people were already thinking who will contest him, who will contest the next election.
I see.
And lo and behold, I mean, MPP is good to go to Congress in January. Who tells you that the NDC will not do the same thing? In fact, the early MPP starts is Congress. The early NDC too will start. So these are the realities on the ground. People are talking about it. Other people on the street are asking, would Mahama continue for another 4 years? Can we give another 4 years? We said no, the law says no. If not, who else would replace him? And what we are doing now is just throw all the names we can think of in the mix to see what people would like. And it is important to note that these are not delegates. These are Ghanaian voters who have the ultimate say or the final say in who becomes the president. So their views matter. And indeed, delegates must look at what Ghanaians are saying before they make decisions.
I see. And you decided to throw in the public opinion personalities in the mix. Haruna Idrisu, Esiedun Ketia, the finance minister, Kessie Latoforsen, and then you have, of course, we have Julius Deborah as well, Okujeto Ablakwa, Zaneto Rollins. Why?
In fact, the list is longer. There are others. I didn't want to have a very clumsy chart, so we took those ones out and added the numbers together because it was around 3%. The list include Dr. Fuswampo, Buzitano, Anatete, Eriko Poku, Iwodaku, Alex Moul, Omane Buama, Pipi Pete. So these are the names we believe they might go. So
Okay.
we thought we should just put a name there and see how they perform among the public.
Okay.
And what you see is the result of public opinion.
I see. And so we have first four, and we have Haruna, then we have the chairman,
Yes.
that's Siedu Nketia, then you have up to Julius Debra. So you are trying for the two parties to hit their heads together, right? As to who to choose for flag bearer and who to choose for vice presidential. Okay, is that what you're doing? Because
No,
because I know what the public opinion is, or at least what we hear from the media, etc. That, well, Muslims and Christians, etc. So what will be the justification, for example, Haruna should be elected? And then
No, we are not providing. Look, I'm not going to go in that kind of commentary because I'm an analyst and I'm a pollster here.
All
what
right.
we are telling them is that Ghanaians say they prefer these people to lead, and this is how they perform so far. I mean, with time, these numbers will move because events will shape the race. I think for Haruna, his challenge at the moment is whether people would accept Muhammad going and Aaron not coming. That is the biggest problem he has to overcome.
Okay.
Other than that, he's very solid among voters.
So Haruna's problem is the regional factor.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right. Then the last question I have to ask. We know what the position is in terms of decisions and amendments to be made to the MPP side, in terms of the approaches also being used. But if we have a new delegates list, so to speak, it changes everything, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Because if you look at the MPP race, it's quite intriguing in the sense that on the face of it, you might think Bawumia is very cool, home and dry. But then if you look at the data from different angles, for example, among those who are MPP people who didn't vote in the last election, the race is much closer. In fact, among those who did not vote and they were MPP, Bawumia is 41%, Kennedy 40%. So it means there are people who may not be happy with Bawumia, but they are not on the list of people who can vote yet. So if they open that nomination, then we would expect the race to change rapidly because those who are not happy with him may find themselves in the register, and that could pose a big challenge for him.
Because I thought Kennedy has been doing so well, so I was surprised that you put Bawumia first, but...
No, it's not me. It is the views of those we interviewed.
Okay, I'm sure Dr. Jebunti Zato will have a lot to say about that, but thank you very much, Musa Dankwa. Very interesting analysis based on the poll result that you have there. But what do you say in response to the outcome of his polls, Dr. Zato?
Okay. To all my viewers, saying I want to say good morning to my friends and colleagues watching and my students watching. To all those watching in Tumu, Basisan, Konchoko, Sakai, Walenjan, Kulfu, Taso, Madiapana, Masine, Mayara Feloko. When I was doing Lauko Momone, Regina doing Loko, Ayopala Pera, Nakadi. The rains have started up now, so I'm just praying that God will let them keep coming so that we can get a good yield. I want to thank Musa Dankwa for what he has done.
The outcome?
The outcome of the polls. In fact, I want to thank...
Because I know you are in the Bawumia camp, so you should be happy.
I want to thank him because in this political analysis and that you are doing, sometimes it's good to have solid data so that you can use that data for analysis. Sometimes with that data, the arguments and analysis become more of a shouting match. So anybody that does a poll, and polls are very expensive. I tell my students, nobody does a poll for the fun of it. You spend a lot of money, a lot of man-hour to collect data, to analyze it, and to publish it. So anybody that goes out there to spend money, to spend data, to use technology to collect data, deserves to be thanked for it. And I want to thank Musa Dankwa because over the years, he has provided data that should help guide our national political, economic, social, and even cultural discourse. That's good. And similarly, I want to thank all those who invest in that. The Africa Policy Lens released a similar report. They've released, Musa Dankwa has released a similar report, and others are releasing results. Now, if you come to the specific polls, I'm actually not surprised by some of the findings that he had. What surprising, I will let you know.
Okay. Africa
Policy Lens also released a poll, and in their poll too, they agree 70% of MPP supporters and MPP polls support Dr. Bawumia. And this poll has also come to basically confirm what Africa Policy Lens said. So you will see that there's a collusion there that at least for now, Dr. Bawumia is on the 70 mark of the results going forward. So that is what both polls are saying, not just one poll. And so now what you want to do is call something about triangulations, look at different methods of data, and then see whether that data is speaking to itself. If there is not, then you can find out why. But so far, they seems to be doing that. The data is also showing that nationally, that's among about, I think, Global InfoAnalytics, Baumia is doing 56, but within the MPP, he's doing 70. That's what. Then again, if you look at that, it means that a certain broad appeal stays. There's something in there that I'm asking. Okay, if you are today, if you are the what are you taking from this? If you are the Dr. Baumia camp, what are you taking from this? And then you, after that, then we'll go to the NDC to look at what is happening there. Canada, Japan ran an insurgency campaign.
Insurgency?
Yes, he ran an establishment campaign. His whole campaign was that, look, the incumbents then was not doing good or had forgotten the masses of the MPP. And that they are, let me see, eating alone and they forgot you, they've ignored you. So I want to be your candidate. He ran an insurgency, a similar candidacy as Trump ran. So his was anti. And his appeal, or majority of his appeal, came from people who were not in government or people who felt that they were left out or ignored by the MPP. That is that's what I'm saying, it's an insurgency campaign that he ran. So today, your question that you want to ask is, okay, what happened to that demographic for him? For him, that becomes his demographic of the insurgents. What happened? And that was the point that Musa Danko himself just ended. For that demographic, he's losing that demographic.
Who is losing?
Ken
Japan.
Yes, he's losing that insurgency demographic. People who did not vote or people who did not support the...
How did you come to that conclusion, Dr. Zato?
He said it's 40-40. It's actually 41-40. That's what Musa Danko, I don't come to, he said that.
Okay, you are...
No, that's the data he gave. He said
okay.
But misleading that...
So you're interpreting his data?
Actually, I'm just mentioning the data itself. Then we'll analyze it. He says that for that group, the people who, that particular group is 41 for Baumia, 40 for Ken, right? Those are the figures he gave. So the question is, that becomes his, if somebody is winning your core group in an election where people are then you have a problem. You have a problem because I expect that, and if you see, Dr. Baumia has gone to 70. The last MPP elections, he eventually won by about 63, 64. Now he's gone to 70. Where did he get those numbers from? It is from that camp. It's from that bucket. The Ken camp. So that is the problem now. You have to look at, those people are coming back to the party, but they are not breaking for Ken. They are breaking for Baumia.
Is that what Dr. Baumia is saying?
That is what the data is saying.
The data.
Okay. The data. I'm just quoting the data directly. If you want the specific data, I can show you the specific data that is saying that. Okay, this is what Musa Danko said. Breaking news: DMB extends its lead, saved by NEC and MPP voters who did not vote in 2084, split with 41 with 40. That demographic, the insurgent demographic, should be breaking for Ken, but they are breaking for Baumia, and that poses a big problem. That is why you see that his numbers have dropped from the 30 to 23 or to 20s.
That's Ken.
That's Ken numbers. 23. And that is why you've seen about Baumia's numbers have gone up. There's a reason. So the question now, if I was the Ken campaign, is like, why? Why am I losing this block? And if you are the Baumia campaign, why am I gaining this block? Because that becomes important. Now, as I said, this is more a quantitative research. Now we can now begin to, I think that is part of what we have to do. What is happening? Dr. Baumia is seriously eating Ken Ajapon's lunch. But he's not just eating, he's devouring it. He took the guy's lunch, divided it in two, he's finished eating that, right? He's likely going to come for them. Why? Why is he eating Ken's lunch? Is it because MPP voters have listened to what President Kufuor said? The admonition given by President Kufuor. Because part of this happened during the time Kufuor was making those comments. That we need to come home, that you need to eschew tribalism, you need to eschew arrogance, you need to eschew religious intolerance. Are the MPP voters listening? Did they listen to Kufuor? And have they listened? And because of that, are they breaking for Baumia? Two, are they listening to Baumia himself when he said that since 1982, every president has handed over to somebody he has defeated. Rawlings handed over to Kufuor, whom he defeated. Kufuor handed over to Mills, whom he defeated. Well, we know what happened with Professor Mills and that. But still, His Excellency.
So that is an exception. It cannot be true that every president, the word every.
But I just said that the guy, unfortunately, he died. So
yeah,
he
so he didn't pass over to. It's an exception.
Yeah. Okay. Almost every president handed over, or let me say 90% of the presidents handed over to the people they were, when they were alive and to hand over. Because if the guy is there, he's not even there to hand over. I didn't want to belate at that point. But probably if he was there to hand over, he would have handed over to, because that's what the statistics say. The statistics say that if he was there and handed over, he could have handed over to somebody that he's there. Okay, then Professor Mahama defeated Nanado, and Nanado defeated Bahano, and they handed over to him. So if you are looking at either from a trend analysis, or if you are looking at it from the data indicates that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will hand over to somebody he defeated, who is Dr. Bawumia. That is the argument that Bawumia is making. So those are two arguments. Then MPP members from the Africa policy lens have said that they don't like people who are arrogant, they like unifiers, they like people who are honest.
Who owns the Africa policy lens? You keep mentioning it.
It's a poll. It was all over the place last week.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. I'm quoting
Send me their poll outcome. Okay. Please go ahead. Africa policy lens. Let's continue.
They don't like voters who are arrogant, candidates who are arrogant. They don't like candidates who are tribalistic. They don't like candidates who are not unifiers. And then they said, the same poll said that the voters see His Excellency Dr. Bawumia as the most experienced guy, as the most intelligent guy, as the unifier. They see him that with his humility, and his experience, and his knowledge, that he has what it takes to unite the party and to take the fight to the MPP. They see him as the heir apparent to President Mahama, and they have confidence in his leadership. That confidence is again being shown in both polls, in both global InfoAnalytics, that all MPP members and even general election voters that they've asked have said that we see in him as a man who is a presidential material. We see in him as the man who we think can beat the MPP. We see in him as the man who is smart, who is intelligent, who is hardworking, who has got practical policies that he's professed that can help people move forward. So that you are now seeing that both polls are talking, and both polls are raising high the virtues, the capabilities, and the stellar credentials of Dr. Bawumia. That is why he's running away with this one for now with about 70%. The quantitative data is being backed by the personality traits, the excellent personalities of Dr. Bawumia, and that's why you are seeing that. So for me, the fact that both polls are speaking to each other, and the fact that both polls seems to be guarding the same thing, makes me happy with what the polls are doing. Then we move into the NDC. And it's okay. You asked a good question. It's too early. The president is there. Why are you polling them now? Of course, that is what we do in political analysis. Because sometimes, even no matter what, if you have voted today, politicians, if you win election today, the next day you are thinking about your re-election. That is always the case. Now, if you are not going for re-election, somebody is thinking about replacing you. Politicians are the most ambitious people you find in the world. In Ghana, every MP or every minister wakes up today and sees himself in the mirror as a future president or vice president. So people are definitely interested. And so far, those are the leading names. And then the question then becomes, how, as time goes on, now I won't be surprised that these people whose name have been mentioned, I won't be surprised if about 70 or 80% of them end up contesting. I won't be surprised if Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Honorable Asidun Katie, Honorable Julius Debra end up contesting the flag bearers. I won't be surprised. So it's okay that they are being polled down. It's okay that we are seeing how they are doing. So that is how he came to that poll. So for me, I think that going forward, we'll begin to see how the numbers big. There's a final thing I want to say. His Excellency, the President, is running with 75%, almost 75%. That is so high. That's just excellent. My point is, what will he do for it? He can do some difficult, unpopular things with it.
Like?
Galamsey. Look, today, there's a story that is on 3 News. TV3, it says that cassava harvested from Galamsey-prone areas in Antigua West, Eastern region, filled with unacceptable levels of mercury, thereby posing health risks to consumers.
I don't understand. You mean the mercury's got into this over the last 6 months? What's your point with this?
My point is that the president has such a high approval ratings. Ghanaians trust him so much. He should do some very difficult, complicated things like Galamsey. He should repeal the LI. He should impose the selected, how do you call that thing? Selected a state of emergency, whatever. Because we need to do this. Sometimes when your popularity and your polling comes down, it'll be difficult for you to do difficult things. Now that he's riding high on the polls, he can do this. And I think Ghanaians will agree with him. Ghanaians will say, so Mr. President, use your high popularity and use it in this difficult and complicated area to solve galamsey.
Wonder, would you say that then that is why there seem to be perhaps nonchalance from the general population towards the reintroduction or perhaps the additional 1 Ghana cedi per litre that has been imposed on fuel, as well as some other related matters, because all in the poll?
Well, if that was true, that we had the latitude to implement anything. And,
you said approval rating also means that there's unfettered ground for you. The appetite is wet of Ghanaians.
It's a very slippery road, and I think that is one of the things that...
So for example, you repeal state of emergency.
You should declare state of emergency and then repeal the airline.
Okay.
So you see, when these things get into your head, I have a high approval rating, and that's exactly what happened to Akufo-Addo's government. Yeah. He felt he had absolute power, absolute control, and could do anything and get away with it. And that's where we were. See, Akufo-Addo was so popular, the only president in the history of this country was so popular, that prior to even becoming president, he had decided to dismantle his own party. His chairman was gone, his secretary was gone, their treasurer was gone, and they had their own agenda. So we don't want to get into those business of, because we have approval rating, so we can just go reckless and do anything we want to do. If it is just approval rating and how the economy should span out, we have a very bad record of Akufo-Addo's government that you don't want to copy. And so we are a listening government. We will do what is in the interest of the country. We have that humility enough to do what is in the interest of the country. The president was speaking just yesterday at the Thanksgiving service, which I want to commend all the organizers of the service. It's an opportunity for Ghanaians to reflect, to reset, and then also love for Mother Ghana. Seeing all these traditional authority, people from the traditional authority, the clergy, and then also our Islamic community yesterday in one accord praying for this country and thanking God was a beauty to behold. And so we in the NDC take power in all humility. We're not too excited about approval ratings and what they are and what they are not. We have a mandate to rule this country, run this country, and deliver good livelihoods and people beginning to prosper and beginning to have hope again that this country can do them good. That's where we stand on this matter. I want to dovetail into Musa Danko's survey. I am very indifferent when it comes to surveys because I have seen surveys, very renowned pollsters, even in this country and beyond, whose polls have been thrown
apart from global InfoAnalytics, one of them trending is the Africa Policy Lens. And Dr. Zate, is it the Africa Policy Lens?
I have never even heard of them before. It's only Dr. Zate who mentions it. I don't know if it's his own think tank. Is that your own think tank?
Oh, no.
Because he makes reference to it. We don't see the document. He only talks about it. So maybe one of these days he can
So you don't believe in survey? You do, but you're saying that you're cautiously optimistic.
Very cautious because look at all the polls that came during our own brother Ben Efsin. He's now gone off virtually. Ben Efsin is lost.
He's my godfather. I beg you.
He's your godfather. Okay, so
this matter, I will not be moderating. You'll be casting aspersions at
not to cast aspersions. I'm telling you. I'm giving you the background to.
I beg you.
Very,
please remove from your submissions.
Then you have polls even in the U.S. Predicting the U.S. elections, Donald Trump and all that. It has always been thrown off and all that. So when it comes to this kind of polls, we have to be cautiously either optimistic or cautiously pessimistic about it. What is the reality on the ground? Talking about Bawumia's popularity.
This is the acceptance of John Mahama, etc. Why is those situations the situation? Yeah.
So let me talk about John Mahama's approval first. I think that generally there's a certain calmness in this country now. Calmness in the economic front, one, because our CD to dollar, which has been a national concern. You remember when the dollar to CD was so bad, how livelihoods have been distorted, how we have to look for money to use the word quell some undercurrents that were coming up. We were sensing that there could be, let me not use the word overthrow, but there could be disturbances in this country to the extent that people were giving haircuts. About 1.3 million people were affected, whose livelihoods were lost. The former MD of Cowbank just spoke
Frankie Do.
Frankie Do
I did
just
listen
spoke,
to him with Evans
and it was so painful listening to him because you can see the pain he went through. And this is his own brother who was president at the time. You know, he said that Ken was his cousin, President Akufo-Addo also his cousin. And
so
all
your
that.
point is?
That's how bad we went. That even people who had affinity towards them, family relationships towards them, felt that the economy was headed the wrong way. And Ghanaians rejected them absolutely. I am very happy that at least there's some calmness in the economic front, some calmness in our social front, some calmness in the global position of Ghana when it comes to our economy and all that. I want to dovetail into Bawumia's stuff. Bawumia's stuff, for instance, I think the Bawumia is a spent force. I mean,
you haven't watched the polls within MPP, 70%. The references have been made to it.
They speak too much about Bawumia to the extent that it becomes appalling to even listen to the name Bawumia.
Dr. Bawumia.
No, I mean, I'm saying this very advisedly because the way they go about it is one of those things that is as if they have a hymn book from which they sing. And we have been in this country. The man has been vice president for 8 years. 8 solid years. We have seen, we have heard, and we have felt his records. And he has been rejected absolutely. This is the first time the MPP went into polls and got that disaster of a result. And so this is not something we should be worried about. He's a spent force. Right in the MPP, one of the reasons why he's facing so much opposition in the MPP is the issue of how he has managed the economy, how he has left the economy in tatters, how he ran away from economic issues and went to discuss digitalization and all that stuff. So he's not somebody that brings to the political table any verve, any trust, any confidence for anybody to want to discuss him. Right in the MPP, he's facing a very tough opposition. In fact, he's even the reason why they want to go for an early Congress, because he's losing it all.
But you don't determine that.
In government, I'm coming in government, we were told that some 120 MPs, at the time they had 137 MPs, endorsed Bawumia. Okay? Fast forward, now we are hearing 80 people went to endorse Bawumia. Where are the other 57 guys? Where are they? Then today we are told that he's having an approval rating of 56%. The man who got 61% in their last, elections.
You mean with the current polls?
Yes.
Within the MPP, he has 70%. I think Dr. Zato made reference.
You see, let me even try to tie in the post and the figures. The polls that these guys put out, the Musa Dankwa guy put out, they said they had polled about 10,493 people. Out of this, about 60% or so are NDC people already, to start with. Then he goes ahead to say that they did face-to-face. Let me show you. There were people who they did online. They did 1,092 people were online. On telephone, they had 1,457. Then face-to-face, they did 7,944, totaling 10,493. Listen. That's why I said this post, we need to really shelve them. It's speculative. It doesn't speak to... Yeah, it's speculative.
You mean Global InfoAnalytics?
He said that himself.
Yeah, was running with
I'm saying he said that himself, but that this particular poll is speculative because there are no contests at the moment.
All right.
Alhaji Bawumia hasn't told us that he will even contest. We are hearing rumors he will contest. We are hearing rumors Ken will contest. Then he goes to our own NDC and all that. There is no contest at the moment. So these are speculative. This is preemptive. This is suggestive.
Okay.
And at best, setting an agenda.
All right.
That's what I think.
I'll read two opinions sent by viewers, whether, of course, politically exposed viewers. And then I'll ask my question. This one is from Ebo Bachman, former MPP, now with Movement for Change. And he says that it is obvious the MPP guys are not serious about winning power in 2028. Dr. Bawumia himself once said that once a Donta becomes president, it will take many years before the opportunity returns to us. So, by his own logic, why is he contesting now, knowing he won't win? Then I go to Gaiji. You know Gaiji?
Yeah.
Gaiji is in one of the camps, right? He should be. And Gaiji also basically states clearly that, even though with all due respect, they seem to be jamming, he said, Dr. Zato should give us a break in your studio. Was Dr. Bawumia not a running mate for 8 years and vice president for 8 years? Performance of Dr. Bawumia, and then goes on to, then he has, and he said typically NDC hold about 45% of the vote, whilst MPP holds about 47%. So in 2008, whilst MPP was looking for a third term for first time Akufo-Addo, getting 49%, 2 percentage points above the MPP base and with a good parliamentary base. In 2024, when MPP again looking for a third term, DMB got 41%, way below the party's base. That should tell us something. Well, that may mean the candidate DMB had some fundamental issue that needs researching to determine if it should be made candidate again. Gaiji Cantonment Accra. Well, Robert Coleman of Wembley Sports Construction, I should tell you good morning.
Loves you. I agree with Coleman.
Robert Coleman.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So my question basically is, there seems to be so much focus on Dr. Bawumia. Everybody wants to, be on his case, etc. I've even seen. But you could clearly see that if you look at the polls, he seems to be the main man based on the population, whether it's normal voter population or delegates of the MPP and NDC side, who say they want him. And so, why the jobs, etc.? Because Ken is also saying.
There is so let me first of all bring you greetings from Mr. Kwawansa,
the distinguished
Pan-Africanist media. I mean, he has a wonderful place in Takoradi. We have to go there together.
What's the name of the place?
Bisa Brewa Museum. Yesterday was the greatest day in my life. Being walked through the African history. I wish organizers of the National Day of Thanksgiving would direct their energies to some of these programs where the Ghanaian will be told about our history and that of Africa. So kudos to Mr. Kwanzaa and all the wonderful people at Bisa Brewa Museum. Roland, this morning I am saddened in my heart.
Why are you sad, sir?
Because I have known Dr. Zato to be a vandal. Is that not the case?
Sharp.
And one of the cardinal principles, I'm not a vandal myself, but if there is anything that I admire about them, they say truth what stands. That I'm in this studio, I'm listening to my brother disowning a very institution that he is part of.
Which is
Africa Policy Lens. I am so surprised, I am scandalized, and I don't want to continue this program this morning. I want him to withdraw that statement that he has no idea about the Africa Policy Lens before I continue, because then it will not be in our interest to be furthering this discourse. I give you the opportunity, Dr. Zato, to just withdraw that bit.
Why is he associated?
He's a member. He is a founding member. If you go to the Africa Policy Lens, Dato's picture is amply there. And I know the people who are the researchers there, they are all Bawumia loyalists. If you take Dr. Domfe, a staunch Bawumia loyalist. My brother, Professor Isaac Bwadi, a staunch Bawumia loyalist. Kwaku Admabudu, a staunch Bawumia loyalist. Who else? So you know it. So you cannot be coming here to be presenting a fake research cooked in that house, and to be telling the people they are serving the interest of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. They are serving the interest of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So we cannot be doing that. That's why I'm very surprised. He must own to it that this is our institute. This is a fake report he's been doing all out. Before the election, they started something like that. They are brought in just to be churning out bogus polls to deceive the minds of the people of this country.
So it cannot be true.
I have told you that we are in 2025.
Which is?
I am not going to allow anybody to get away with any throwing of dust into the eyes of the Ghanaian people. And I don't want him to pick the character of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because Gogo says he is a liar. Are you with me? And if Zato is going to follow that tangent, I will be very, very, very disappointed in him. So that is the first point to deal with this one.
No, are you saying that Dr. Zato has an...
and if anybody... No, you can go to the Africa Policy Lens website. That's why I gave him the opportunity. His beautiful picture is there.
No, but he's saying that the outcome of the polls, whether he's associated to...
How can a group of people belonging to Bawumia's camp go and do a research and tell you that Bawumia...
He says that their outcome syncs with the global InfoAnalytics.
Global InfoAnalytics. You should have my personal view about these polls. I have told you
Roland.
time with that number.
I should wait for my turn.
No, I can give you the chance to withdraw that statement.
Which statement?
The statement that you say that you don't know nothing about African policy lens.
Okay, so Roland,
No.
I can dash him 2 minutes over. He's my brother, so when I have this like that.
No, let's have some peace
I'll
and
just wait.
calmness here.
I have a different attitude towards polling.
So you feel that such polls are contrived in some ways to favor certain...
Absolutely, they mean nothing. Look, to be able to win the Ghanaian elections, you must perform.
So your point is that he's conflicted?
He's conflicted. And all the people
That
over
he's
there...
a Bawumia lawyer.
He has already stated on this platform countless number. And this morning, what he sought to do was to further, deepen the wounds of candidates. I have told you that none of the frontliners or those that really want to contest in the LBB primaries fascinate me. In fact, they don't have to go closer to power. No, none of them must even conceive.
Dr. Brian Champong.
To do what? As we speak, we are owing ECOWAS buffer stock. Rice, 27,000 tons. He was the Minister of Agri. I would be. But for the graciousness of the Ghanaian worker, he would have bought Labadi Beach Resort. If as a minister you wanted to buy Labadi Beach Resort, if you become the president of this country, are you not going to sell me? I'm telling you reality. You see, you must not be pampering, sugarcoating. I said it has to be as it is. Brian Champon, as a businessman, wanted to buy a state asset. Now he wants to be the president. If he becomes president, wouldn't he buy everything in the country for himself?
Oh, how?
Look, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I have said time with that number that the greatest disservice the party, that's the MPP, and not even the MPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, who has run away from the system, did was to have inflicted onto the people of this country the person of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. What were the selling points when they were bringing him? They said the moment he became the flag bearer of the MPP, he was going to bring in all the votes in the northern region. Why not in this country? We were told that the Muslim votes that had eluded the new patriotic party for that long, the moment he became the flag bearer, all the Muslim votes were going to be moved into the direction of the new patriotic party. But he himself said it, The day he filed his nomination form for the MPP's internal primaries, that time I was in the MPP. The first place that he visited to do his campaign was Ayawaso East. That's where Nima is, right? Go and listen to what he told the people of Ayawaso East. He told them that, look, I am one of your own, and there was no way any other candidate apart from me would garner more votes from your side than... So what are you talking about? He believed in religious politics. He believed that Ayawaso East was predominantly people of the northern extraction, and that once he was one of their own, they will vote for him. Now, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had been presented to the people of this country as an economist.
Oh, he is an economist.
How did he become all of a sudden somebody who is not interested in economic matters but different matters? When last did you hear him? The last time somebody made a mistake of saying that Bawumia speaks to restore the city, they came out to deny. His own people were denying him. That the man has not said that he was going to lecture us on economics anymore.
But based on the polls, he will be a header for anyone selected from the NDC after John Dramani.
But I'm not here to prick the NDC matter because my party is in the offing. Believe you me, the very assumption that he made that anybody that contests twice is likely to win, then if that is anything to go by...
And there's a handover to another...
That is also another palpable falsehood. Eduboy contested election in 1992. Is that not the case? Did Jerry Rawlings hand over to Eduboy?
I don't understand.
What I mean is that if he's saying that whoever contests with the other candidate, the one that wins ultimately hands over to power to him, then I'm saying that we started our fourth Republican dispensation with Eduboy as MPP's flag bearer. Why did Jerry Rawlings not hand over power to Eduboy? Whom did he hand over power to? Is it not J. Akufo? So you can change your candidate and the sitting president will hand over to him. It doesn't mean anything. The bottom line is whether or not the person is suitable for the position.
Are you saying that the messaging was wrong or that he got the permutations?
The permutations, he was misled by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia once again, doing his own analysis.
Who is misleading Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Zato has been misled by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to think that that assumption is correct. Because it has never been the case. Are you with me?
Dr. Zato, are you an advisor to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Is it my turn to talk?
No, but I have.
So I'll wait for my turn to talk.
Are you an advisor to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
I'll wait for my turn to talk.
So what I'm saying is that whichever way you look at it, whether or not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gets 90%, and even this post, we are told by Musa Dankwa that it's not for MPP members, the entire country. There is a portion that says that those first-time voters, if they were going to vote, Bawumia trails. He falls below the 50 mark. It tells you that if elections were going to be held today, he has no such capacity to even garner the very 41.75% that he got according to the Electoral Commission. Do a simple proportion. If less, more divide. If more, less divide. When he had 61.43% during the MPP's primaries, it led him to get 41.75 in the national election. That's the case. So if today we are being told by a poll that he is getting 56%, then what it means is that if elections were going to be held today and we are going by this proportion, he is going to get 38% according to my calculation. In any case, we voted 6 months ago. What has changed between the period? What monumental thing has Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia done that will lead anybody to that determination or conclusion that he is a preferred candidate for anybody? Look, if you go into what is happening in the country right now, about 90% of those that have been accused of having stolen the country's money, they were all supporting Mahmoud Bawumia.
Huh?
Are you with me?
You mean those
the NPP officials who are being prosecuted, those who are alleged to have taken the money? A typical case in point is the National Service. National Service, when you look at the figures...
But they were not appointed by Dr. Bawumia.
No, but I'm saying that they were strong supporters of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm choosing my words carefully. National Service, the year that we are told that they took a lot of money, which is 350 million, was in 2023. Do you know what was happening in 2023 in this country? We were doing NPP internal elections. That was where they were flaunting wealth, as though they had money printing machines in their homes. Who are those who have been accused? Gift Yawari, Mustafa Yusuf, what's the name? Asibe, Osunoba. These were strong supporters of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Where did they take the money to? It pays to wait. Vengeance is mine. You know, when people are doing certain things, they are saying that he's having 56%.
No, not they saying. The survey report does indicate that. That's the outcome.
According
of
to
the question. According to Global Info.
What I'm saying is that you can even give him 100%. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will fail woefully. The election 2028.
Japan as well.
I have told that none of them face the bill.
I see, Solo.
None of them face the
You
bill.
seem to be having a certain hard line.
Because in 2028 there will be that candidate that the good people of this country have been waiting for all these years. The last John. Remember, we have been doing the John businesses. Jerry John Rollins, John Ejekum Kufuor, John Evans Atamios. We made a mistake to introduce Nana. That is where we are. Then the country realized that we made a mistake. We reversed it back to the John.
You mean that if it was betting, the odd number?
The odd number. So when we reverted it to the John, you see things are stabilizing. So there is a large John. There is a large John to end the invasion of John. That's John Alain.
I see. 2028. Okay, my last question, and you treat this in 2 minutes for me. What do you think, based on the survey reports, that the president and his government need to do with that high approval rating, now in excess of 70 to 75%?
Let me tell President Mahama that I don't know how they arrived at these figures, but I am also on the street. May I play on the street? The people of this country, especially the youth, they are saying they are not too much fascinated about your big push and anything. All that they are interested is that all those that looted the state are brought to book. All the looted assets are recovered. And once he does that, I'm telling you, his approval ratings will likely hit the roof, closer to 100.
I don't understand.
You're saying that he should go for the looted assets. The criminals must be prosecuted.
He should intensify the operation.
Recover all. So my group, yesterday, I issued a statement. ORA must work. It's very important to us that you cannot come and tell us that you come and recover all looted assets, and you allow them to go. For instance, go to the Ghana Atomic Agency. Professors and go. Uranium that we stockpile, they sold it. Akufo-Addo came and they sold it.
Really?
You ask them, go to the CSR. Lecturers and professors that we entrusted our destinies into they sell government lands as though lands are like chewing gum.
So you should intensify Operation Recover All.
Frank Kedu.
Otherwise, he would have.
That's all that the Ghanaian is looking for.
Frank Kedu, what has he done?
Frank Kedu told you and I that he will never forgive Ken Ofori-Atta and Nana Akufo-Addo. Why? Because while he was suffering with his pension money, they were living large. I am very surprised that he omitted the name of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But his name should have been there.
No.
How did we have to go through the haircut? It was an IMF condition to reduce our debt portfolio. Go and check the staff level agreement between Ghana and IMF. Those that led the engagement. In fact, our team was led by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But let me crown all these things with this statement.
You have a minute.
That as we speak, the reality of the MPP and on all these surveys is that in 4 of the regions of this country, they have 0 MPs. That is the OT region, the Volta region, the Upper East region, and the Upper West region. In 5 of the Ghanaian regions, that is the Bono region, Bono East, Ahafo region, what's the name? I've forgotten about them. They have 1 MPs. You understand?
Is it Western North? Or
Western North, yes, Western North. They have 1, and Savannah, they have only 1 MP. In about Greater Accra, they have only 5 MPs.
Well, they said they can turn the tide in the next.
How are you going to turn when? In the Kusag areas, that is the Boko and these areas, 30 of the polling stations, Mahmoud Bawumia that they said was going to bring the Northern votes, that if you know how the NPP operates, each of the polling stations, the NPP has 5 polling station executives, yet they recorded 0 in 30 polling stations. 0. So this is the reality. Your car is crashed. Instead of getting a mechanic to go and fix the car, you are busy going to the market to
crashed?
The car is crashed. It's at Apeja Junction.
Apeja.
That's where you pass to Akufo-Addo's hometown. Apeja Junction. The car is still there. The MPP car is crashed. Instead of coming to Abosoka to look for mechanics to go and assess the extent of damage, they are busily in Accra looking for a driver. If you get a driver, which vehicle is the person going to drive? I can't think far. But I wish them all the best, because very soon, Roland, you will witness the coming into force of our new political party, that party that would deal constructively and decisively with galamsey in this country, that would deal with looters that we know them.
The movement for change.
How can somebody go and sell appetition, Gihok, Kofi Juma, and incur losses, and when he's going, he take Genesis G90, you know G90, Genesis G90?
It's a luxury brand.
You know how much he bought it. You do know how much he bought it. This country, no, something must be happening in this country. He bought it for 4,943 cities. Vehicle valued $100,000, and he got a nerve to be bluffing on TV.
You got a nerve?
Go and listen to how he was insulting everybody because he had seen money.
Well, the clarion call is that he's old, so he shouldn't be treated.
He is old. An old mother knows how to enjoy luxury. Is that what they are telling us? So forget about them. Let them live in their fantasies. They will come and meet us in 2028.
So, it's an outcome of a poll. So you have to feel relaxed.
Which of the polls is that?
So let's wrap up. Use 3 minutes to wrap up on this subject. At the end of the day, what's the way forward when it comes to the side of the MPP? Just in 3 minutes to be able to show up. And then also your expectations of the government as well.
Thank you very much.
On many vexed policy matters.
Solomon, I think you have a problem with knowledge and research, not me.
Oh, are you insulting
Your
me?
problem, no. I'm saying it. The guy is calling
your
me a
words,
liar.
your
No,
words.
that's my words. I say he has a problem with knowledge and research, not with me. Your problem is knowledge and research. I cited 2 polls. Sometimes in research, especially on social science research, one of the ways to know whether a poll is correct or wrong is something called replicability. Can you replicate it? Can you replicate it? Replicability.
Okay, replicability.
So if 2 different pollsters, Musa Dankwa with Global InfoAnalytics and Africa Policy Lens go into the field and come back with data, and their report is similar, even though the same, that is convergence. That is replicability. That is the credibility of the poll. So my question, even if
What is that
Please,
talking about?
please.
I hope you give me a minute.
I'll give you. After 3 minutes. After 3 minutes.
I have no problem.
So I'm happy.
I have no
Today
problem.
you've raised the credibility of Africa Policy Lens.
Yes.
It means that even if the people there are politically biased. Even if the people there are ideologically biased, even if the people there support the People Party, but that the result of their poll is scientific and has proved to be very valid. That's the point, because it aligns with another poll. Unless you can demonstrate. And
are you associated with the Africa Policy Lens?
Yes, I'm associated with Africa Policy Lens. I'm associated with Africa Policy Lens. And this thing has vindicated that the research that Africa Policy Lens did is credible. That's the point I'm making.
So you are conflicted.
How? You did the research. Okay. I teach research methods in the university. Where am I conflicted?
Many lecturers do.
Exactly.
What's your point with this?
My point is this. That, no, exactly.
Course,
so
yes.
my point is
What's
this.
Your point with Dr. Zato?
My point is this, that the polls are correct. And the polls are dealing with that. If you're a pollster, if you take a global InfoAnalytics poll, and if you take this, they all tell you that the data they are collecting is reliable, the data they are collecting is correct, and that is the point.
What role do you play at the Africa Policy Lens?
I'm a researcher, I'm a fellow, I'm a researcher.
You're a fellow of the Africa Policy Lens?
Yes.
Okay, so that is established.
Yes, that's established.
The concern that has been raised by Solo is that it makes you conflicted.
And how? In collecting data?
I haven't finished the question, Dr. Zato. It makes you conflicted. Also because the leaders of the Africa Policy Lens are close to the Baumia camp, so to speak. It makes their research outcomes perhaps biased.
Okay, even if that was the case, then the global information would have exposed that. I want you to understand, it's knowledge. If you don't get it, you won't get it. Let's say because they are biased, they said Baumia gets 70%. Is global informatics biased towards Baumia? No. Then they could have said he got 40. Then you say, aha, you see, because you people are biased, you've given Baumia a higher number.
Are you close?
Let me explain.
Are you close to
explain something?
Do you want to be asking questions?
No, you start to explain.
Please,
I'm still explaining.
Please.
You've cut me short in the middle.
So, are you close to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia?
What do you mean by close? Define close. I don't understand close.
Is it somebody you confide in? Is he your friend?
Yes.
Okay.
He's my friend.
Okay. So if
I support him 200% in this in this campaign. So and I'll vote for him today.
As a lead researcher of Africa Policy Lens, you support one of the leading protagonists in the MPP race.
Yes, I do.
200%.
Very proud of that.
Okay. So if your position, politically exposed position, is misconstrued in the scheme of the public narrative, that because you lead the Africa Policy Lens, then it creates some level of a credibility crisis for its research outcomes. Would you say those people align or not?
I'll say those people should look at the results.
Okay.
Because see, look, I'm making no. It's not no. You
it's 3 minutes.
It doesn't matter whether you are whatever you are. You look at the results. I'll tell you, look at the results. If this morning Global InfoAnalytics had said that the outcome of the Africa Policy Lens was wrong, then we would have a credibility crisis. That is the point. That is the logic. That is how knowledge is done. Knowledge, especially research knowledge. You take one research and you look at the other and you ask yourself, if you can replicate it, that means that you could say that Global InfoAnalytics has replicated the outcomes of this one. And so once that is done, you could then say that the research is credible. For me, it's about the credibility of the research.
I want to.
You have 3 minutes. If you take 2 minutes, I'll be happy.
Yeah, Dr. Zato, please.
Let's conclude on these.
Please, let's be cautious sometimes the way we put the information we put out.
Yes.
I have just gone to check Africa Policy Lens website.
Good.
You know the names that are there.
What names are there?
MPP food soldiers. Oh, no. And I'm going to mention. I want to take my time.
What do you mean by
to
food
mention?
soldier?
No, when I mention the names, you will know. For instance, their contact number there belongs to George Dunphy. You know who is George Dunphy?
It's a lecturer. I've seen. I've heard him.
Then Professor Isaac Bodi. Then you have Ajiman Budu, Gimpa.
What's wrong with that?
Law school dean. These are all MPP.
But what's wrong with that?
Now I'm coming. In research, the personal biases of the researcher is very critical.
That's true.
Very, very critical.
According to what we learn in the courses.
Yes, very, very critical.
In
so
school.
if he agrees to that, then we can extrapolate. Then you want to continue. The other person there is Dr. Frank Bano.
I know him very well.
You know him very well.
He was always on Metro.
Good.
And then came.
The other person there is Eric Boachi.
What's wrong with that?
These are all MPP apparatchiks. No, there are two more. There's even Dr. Hayford Mensah.
So you're saying it affects their credibility
Is that
and then the
true,
credibility.
And then the last person is Dr. Zaita.
Why did you
As
decide
a fellow. No.
reserve him for
On
the
top-
last mention?
In fact, on the list is the least person. I mentioned
let me see.
according to.
It has to be projected for
Now, so when objections are raised to your view,
No, it's good.
that these views are not as objective as they should be, take it in good faith. Because you can't sit on this platform.
Please,
We have never even seen any document from African Lens. Never. I haven't cited any report, any survey, any analysis, any critique, any view, anything from African Policy Lens or whatever you call it. And in the last 3 months, they gathered themselves, put together themselves quickly, and then they said they have.
So you're deliberately attacking their credibility
It's not even about
to nullify
they don't even have
their
credibility.
research findings.
They don't even have it.
Why don't they have?
Yeah, because
Your time is up.
Because you want to pair them against previous jobs that have been done or works that have been done. How relevant it's been, how much knowledge has added to the body of knowledge, and finally, how that research added to the discourse.
So for you, time and tested.
They lost.
Okay.
They don't have it.
3 minutes for
Bro,
it's fair.
let's put the issues in the right perspective. I don't know where my brother was sitting and what he was hearing.
He says that you are deficit in a lot of
Absolutely, I have no difficulty. I mean, the viewers there will know whether I have a deficit in my thinking or not. But what necessitated my argument? Wanda had asked Zato a very simple question as to whether or not we are related or have anything to do with the Africa Policy Lens. That was a question he asked you. And he said no, an emphatic no. But I had known the Africa Policy Lens to be an offshoot of Baumia's campaign. So I said, what is my brother's...
I mean, the last year.
No, recently, all the members are Baumia loyalists. So when he said no, then I said, what are we doing here? Because these are public documents, public information that anybody can easily fact check. So I said quickly, let me go to their website and see whether or not to even assuage my curiosity. And yeah, let me also thank my research assistant, Edna Boatin, for a wonderful job. Then they pulled the data, and I saw a handsome Zato with his jacket as one of the researchers there. So I started, why do you...
Not is handsome, so
yes. So why do you think I went on the tangent of asking you, quoting what the Commonwealth stands for? I said, and you even corroborated my effort that, you started with truth stance. Is that not the case? If truth stance, and you know very well that you are a member of that policy, Africa Policy Lens, and you are denying Africa Policy Lens here, then what are we doing? How do you want me to take any statement that you make here serious?
I'm sure that was a misnomer. I'm sure it was.
So he has to apologize first of all before. He has to apologize for...
Now he has accepted that he's part of it.
He has not accepted it. He has not accepted it. Let me accept it.
Please let move on.
You get my point. You see, these people are...
No.
So the truth of the matter is that we came here this morning having been given a topic, a research that was done by
Global
InfoAnalytics. Nobody had mentioned the Africa Policy Lens.
So he says.
It was you deliberately that brought...
He says, we have individuals who are leading the Africa Policy Lens.
Yes.
And his estimation, achievers in their own right, in research, academia, wherever they find themselves. And so, if there's a certain corroboration of their research findings, that also links with the popular one, Global InfoAnalytics, it cannot be said that their outcome is wrong.
No, nothing they did corroborate what Global Info did. You know, in the case, in yours, let me point out the differences. I mean, I'm so clear in my mind. In your case, you went to interview NPP delegates.
Huh?
They interviewed NPP delegates. Is that not the case? Musa Danko is telling us that they did not interview only NPP delegates, but the entire Ghanaian population. So where is the convergence? If you go with your biased experts to go and carry out a research and come out with an outcome, you think I'll take it serious? But you see, these things are done. It's part of the propaganda wing of the Baumia campaign. But the other candidates seem not to be serious with it because they will sit down. If I had not exposed it this morning, they will be coming out with turning out with a lot of fake posts just to deceive the people of this country. And when they succeed with the MPP, because already the MPP's internal is a joke. It's a skewed.
we have Dr. Brandy Champ.
Now they are putting it as a joke. Brandy is at 3%. What's it, my friend Buaba, who has not even spoken, who has not declared his intention of contesting, is at 4%. Duchum is at 9%. How they got 9% for Duchum, I'm very surprised, because he should pinpoint one thing that he did at the education ministry that should even lead to anybody think he will get 0.5%. You understand? So it's a joke, it's a flawed process that at the end of the day, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to lead. But the truth of the matter is also that if you allow the likes of Zato and his Africa policy lens to succeed with these polls, what they will do is that they will take it to the national levels.
Dr. Zato, apart from coming here as a strong member of the MPP, is also a distinguished...
We are doing politics this morning. Forget about the titles here. We are doing real business.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know, here when he said he had nothing to do with the Africa policy lens, has it been established now that he is a member of the Africa policy lens? So if you had gone with the doctor, that's what people are beating people in the system with.
I don't understand.
That's why GuyTech of late are withdrawing a lot of PhD distance. We are here on a serious matter, and we have to conclude on that matter.
Dr. Zato, 24-hour economy policy was launched yesterday.
Yes. Can I say something small?
If you say, I'll say.
3 minutes on that subject.
It's not on that subject. The report was about...
3 minutes on 24-hour. How can we...
Not delegates, be supporters.
Sustainability, unless you want to say everything
No,
within your
actually, I'll go ahead. 24-hour economy.
3 minutes.
I think that it's a good thing that the government is coming out with a policy. If you ask the architects and members of this policy, the objective is simple. That is to address issues about economic performance and especially unemployment. The idea is that, or the proposal is that, if you run an economy on 24 hours, you can get to employ more people to job. There's actually a saying that you have 3 people for the same job in some selected key areas of the economy. So somebody will start in the morning, finish the evening, another person will come and try and go. So for one job, you have 3 people. That looks good. I'm happy with that. On paper, on a book, it looks like a good idea. Then it means that the teeming masses of youthful masses who are unemployed will get a job. That the people who are there, that the economic activity will pick up and the economy will do better. So on idea, I have absolutely no problem with the 24-hour economy or the idea of 24-hour coming out. I also know that sometimes campaigns are easy, or mostly campaigns are easier than governors. That we mostly campaign in poetry and then we govern in prose. The difficulty that comes when it is time for you to begin to implement the policies and to get it done. And that's why I think I have a problem with the way the 24-hour economy has gone so far. One, we now know the cost of it. $4 billion, that's just too expensive. And we've been told we don't have the money. The government is only going to provide about 20% of it. Where will the rest of the money come? So one, I personally believe that the price tag of the 24-hour is just too much. That money, if I have the choice, if I was advising government, I would say push the $4 billion in the big push project. That will immediately result in tangible outcomes. You can easily do roads, you do hospitals, you do schools. They are tangible measures. So I think the cost is too much, and I don't know where we are going to get the money from. Two, as it stands now, it's too complicated and convoluted, and sometimes presented as a magical bullet or a one-size-fits-all to all our problems. So almost everybody is now waiting for the 24-hour economy to come for them to try to get a job, to get a promotion, to go away hard. When you do that, you raise expectations too high. Then you may end up creating what's called an expectation gap between what people expect and what is actually going to happen. I would believe that the $4 billion money that is going to use, I would rather advise we use some of it for the Women's Development Bank. I think it will be tangible. I would rather we use some of it to deal with the schools, especially right now when you realize that the money that they need to pay the fees and everything. Secondly, I hope and I want to believe that this thing becomes a demand-driven, not a supply-driven thing.
But that's the intention.
That's the intention.
According to Mr. Guzita.
That's the problem. It's supposed to be, but then ask yourself, there are 3 sectors that are being targeted for this. Or if I get it right, because there's a lot. Passport service, GVLA, and the ports. They have shown up prominently in the promise of this. Then ask the question. We have digitalization, and over the years, the past 8 years, as a government and as a people, we've invested a lot in digitalization, in the idea of using digital technology to deliver public services. Digital technologies remove middlemen. They lead to efficiency and effectiveness. We can do that. Some of these things can fall under the digitalization idea. So we don't necessarily need physical man officers to run the 24-hour hours, because that is what I think also contributed to the high expense, how much it is. In the passport sector, in DVL and even in the ports, I believe that if the idea is to use physical offices, physical spaces, physical people, and literally let them open for 24 hours, it may not, because the demand may not be there. Nobody wakes up at 12 midnight to go and renew a passport. There's a DVLA office in Wa. I was saying this somewhere yesterday. Nobody wakes up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and say, let me go and renew my passport. But somebody can sit late in the night to submit an application online and to get it reviewed. So my point is that some of these things should move online. If you move them online, then we don't have to be physically present to do this. But as it is now, it's too amorphous, it's too ambiguous, and I'm surprised to say that it's been presented as a magical bullet, and that may not work.
But the point is, if you listen to the head of the Secretariat, it's a policy intention, and the intention has to be deliberately guided to achieve an aim. And it has to spring from the base to be able to create a demand for it. And so if it's not intentional, then there's no KPI to achieve, right?
Well, let me, Dr. Zato, please slow down when
you have 3 minutes.
Your criticisms on 24-hour economy. You just listen to me. You just listen to me and hear out what the government intends to do and what we are doing. Okay. Number one, the 24-hour economy is, one, to create jobs. 2, productivity, increase productivity. What they fail to do when they said that production over taxation, what we want to do is create jobs, increase productivity, and economic growth. And then there are 7 key areas, 7 key sectors within which this will be implemented. Number 1, the manufacturing and agro-processing. We are saying that enough has been done about farming. How do we move to the next level of agribusiness? How do we go into manufacturing of the basic products, basic plants or crops that we produce in this country? What do we do? Should we can them? Should we take them to the next level for export? Should we add value to them and all that? That's one plank of it. Number 2 is the health services. You know, you cannot have a country that is running, 4 p.m. everybody is closed and gone home and all that. We think that health issues, for instance, can be dealt with across the globe, across the day. And it doesn't have to be just in the morning and 5 p.m. hospital is closed. You go to some of the hospitals in this country and by 8 p.m. they say there's no doctor on duty and all that. We want to find a way to expand that health coverage to cover everybody. Number 3, transport and logistics. Government, and he talks about investing in roads and all that. Indeed, this is part of the project. If you decide to do 24-hour economy, you will need the transport to be working, transport services and logistics to be working. How do goods move from one point to the other? How do we fix our roads? How do we ensure that there's electricity, there's power, and there's all the services that are required for all our industrial parks to be working? This is also part of the project. So if it is 4 billion is too much, the 4 billion is not even going to be invested today. We have a 4-year mandate, and that is likely saying that we are going to spend 1 billion per year for the 4-year period.
He says it's amorphous. Amorphous means opaque, not clear,
he's refusing to read. He's refusing to read what is it. Then the other plank of the 24-hour economy is the digital economy and call centers. We want to have our digital economy, which is what he talked about, the investments we have made in digitization to begin to work and work properly. So that is also one of the plank. The other one is the retail services. Retail and other marketing services. Then you have the hospitality and tourism services, and finally agriculture in itself. And if you see, that is where the president has created a special, approach to agriculture. My own brother Otokuno is one of the people in charge of that sector. So a lot of things are being done in that regard. It would mean good for this country rather than anything called
Solo. Based on guided principles and then maybe success or failures of such policies in other areas, and then what the generic intentions are, how should this be implemented in such a way that it is right, it is meritorious, and then achieves its intended aim?
I mean, Roland, to be able to answer this question, you must remember what we said during the campaign. I came here with this book, and this is the reason why I continue to bring this book. We know it's getting old, the Great Transformational Plan. Mr. Alan Chamantin, together with the movement, had made argument that the 24-hour economy will be the cause of an effective management of an economy. And I think Mr. Buzitano agrees with that position.
So you say it is feasible only if?
It's feasible only if you have stabilized your economic environment, you have improved your governance system, you have improved infrastructure, you have improved social services, you have improved environmental condition. Now, we are unable to even get water into our taps because galamsey is destroying our water bodies. Companies operating 24 hours, they will need water. So if you don't deal with issues of galamsey, how would you get the water? You understand? You have to improve on the behavioral and mindset, the attitude. You get my point. So when you are able to stabilize all these things, you will not tell anybody that if there is demand for your product, you have to work 24 hours.
And energy.
And energy.
You tackle the key indicators, inflation.
Absolutely. Access to credit.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the access, but how cheap it is. Because we don't have the luxury, the raw materials. Now, people in Japan are doing 0 interest rate. We are doing more than 35 years. How do you compete with such a person? You get my point. So these are the issues that we have to deal with. So I believe that the government must go on the tangent of, first of all, stabilizing all these indicators. And once it is done, we must not rush. We are not in a hurry to go anywhere. Our hurry must be to go and retrieve all the money stolen to come and stabilize the economy. And once we do that, the 24-hour economy will come by itself. You can't do it with bad rules. If somebody is living at Insawam, now I get from Insawam to Accra, between the Insawam portion and Amasaman, it's hell. I just came back from Takrady yesterday, and from Winneba to Kaswa, it is so, I don't know whether we are living on a different planet.
Affects
when we are done.
Cost of production.
Cost of production. But believe you me, time wasting. Within year of road 2017, 2018, 2019. But all the roads are bad.
I don't understand.
You don't remember that? Year of road, year of road, year of road. You didn't remember? You don't remember?
I do.
The amount of money that supposedly was pumped into that sector, it will marvel you. So let us deal with this. And I can tell you that it's a good thing.
So for the movement for change, a policy you think, if well guided and implemented?
We have set a time with a number.
Only if?
Only if. Okay. It depends on how you stabilize the various aspects of the economy.
So, Solo, fantastic work so far. I'm getting a lot of accolades on social media. So quickly, before we come to a close this morning, let me just get on to our stream. And you can always get us TV3 Ghana. I see a couple. I have Raj, who says MPNDs always address unemployment, but we can't see any jobs since 1992, so Raj on gold. Nitete Namwale, I've seen your message. You said no credibility. And then John Bosco Akotia, also CEOs as well, Money and the rest. Samuel Ahinsa says, seriously, my brother says he's a good man in school. I just think that his panel and communication business is not good for him. Well, I don't know who you were. And then John Bosco says, Terminator 1, Solomon. Queen Nash says, I can miss any other days, but certainly not Wednesdays when Solomon is there. We need him on big issues. The key points. Okay, you say we need him on the key points. All right. Yamole Yamo says, you need an apology. We shouldn't. Okay. I see your message as well. And then Isaac Asase AEC says, Solomon is always on point. Now, who owns the Africa policy? I think with Audisi says Solomon Fire. Okay. And Zege Ozoma, I also see yours too. Now, let me go on to our WhatsApp console and then read a couple more just to acknowledge your presence. I see Prince Nane, good morning to you. I hope that you're home now. The 24-hour economy, I'm still waiting to see how it will turn out. I'm still watching with keen eyes. Interesting point you have as well. And Dr. Kofi Apenu says, get the phone, get a phone line of Guzitano. You need him on the show. Yes, certainly we'll need him. I know that he'll be coming. They talk to me, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. And we'll be able to do that. And Kwame Owusu-Boateng says, Kenny, Japan will lead the MPP. Forget about every poll that will be said. We will force them to change the delegate list by making sure that the delegate elections from the base are held earlier. Elliot Wogbe says, when we in the NDC are not concerned about whichever candidate, okay, we in the NDC are not concerned about whichever candidate the MPP decides to present. What matters to us is that we are fully united behind the president to reset Ghana, knowing that the party's next candidate will build on the goodwill of John Dramani Mahama and his administration. The big question we must ask is, what exactly is the MPP coming back to do? And Bruce Foko also says, okay, Bruce Foko, I see your message. And then, okay, Emmanuel Faja also see yours as well. Chief Mante says, looking at the people who are the members of the African policy lens, the probability of them being biased, very, very high. Well, Ishak is also watching us from the US. He says, please extend my greetings. Tell him Ishak says hi. Do you know any Ishak in the US?
Yes. He's a friend. Yes.
Oscar Mensah also has sent some messages. And, well, the Honorable Abdulaziz Myong the Honorable Abdulaziz, former member of Parliament for Myong, currently with GIFEC, says that please ask Dr. Zato if he's aware that research ethics requires him and others at the institute to disclose their association and bias in their report. He hasn't hidden it so far, I think. It's only Solo who wanted to do some mischief. But thank you, gentlemen. No. Okay. And then thank you all, gentlemen, for passing through the show this morning. As well.
To the MC for Adenta, Ella Christine Nongo.
Okay.
She's doing a good job, and congratulations.
You live in Adenta?
Yeah.
Okay. Wishing you all the best. Michael Clovier as well. MK Obrimpong Kaba says that kindly appeal to Solo on our behalf to come to key points. Now, if you want to look smart and fashionable, you have to make sure that you visit any Within Boutique nationwide today.